Welcome to PNW Prop Stars, the only Seahawks only gambling show in the multiverse. I'm your host, Clinton Bonner, and I am joined by two gentlemen. Yes, I realize if you're watching on youtube.com/Seahawkers podcast, you only see me and Adam, but believe you me, Wilson is here with us in voice only. Wilson, are you there, sir? Are you there?
Yes, ground control to Major Clinton. I'm present.
Oh, wonderful. We're, countdown, ignition's on, the whole thing already. Adam, you're in Montana. You say you're getting walloped with the really good first snowstorm of the season. The people want to know, are you prepared? You're a prepper in many ways. Are you prepared for this first snow of the season in the mountains?
Oh, am I prepared? Geez Louise, we got wood piled up on the porch. I got the snowplow ready to rock. The only thing I wasn't prepared for is for yet another time where I've won or have been winning, and Wilson doesn't appear in one way, shape, or form. Like, we either don't do a show, or he's only here as a disembodied voice like the enterprise computer, or he just doesn't make it all together. So a new and creative way for Wilson to duck a weak win by me. That's fun.
Oh, that's good stuff. Speaking of like spooky, spacey things, I did get to watch Alien Romulus this past week. I put it into the pretty good, certainly not great category. I felt the last act kind of falls apart a little bit. No spoilers. Enjoyable though, and spooky alien. And they really do spend quite a bit of time with the spider form, like before they basically impregnate you, which is cool because those are, I think, even kind of scarier, a little bit wicked. All right, so boys, I named this one. I'll put it on screen. I had to title it something, so I go with Will JSN finish strong? I guess we're going to find out. And, one of the things we could kind of bank on this year was that JSN was a pretty good bet. There was that nice run. What was it, 7 games in a row where he was 70 plus week in, week out. And if you were hammering that, you were doing pretty good. With that though, it's been a difficult year. There's been a lot of different things going on. Before we get to our season finale, we want to remind folks to please go out there and subscribe. This is one of 5 unique shows we put on every single week during the season. And then throughout the off season, there's a whole bunch of shows that still happen on the Seahawkers Podcast Network. So youtube.com/Seahawkers Podcast. Lend the like, lend the subscribe, drop the comments. It helps way more than you know. And we are still charging at 5,000 subs, and we'd love to have you with us. Just show it on screen real quick where you can go do that, of course. And we like to put out polls for the YouTube audience and Twitter and everything else. So I asked this, and I want to get your beat on this as well. Wilson, I'll toss it to you first. Basically just asking the flock, what's your feelings heading into week 18? You want to win, go 10-7, beating the Rams matters to you. You really don't care one way or another. Or, hey, 9-8's fine, and you actually prefer the better draft position. Wilson, where are you at on this debate?
I think I lean slightly towards the better draft position, but also I really don't care either way. It is, for me, a meaningless game in all sense of the word. So,
yeah. For me, one thing would have been if McVay was deciding to go for it and say, hey, the 3 really matters, and they were going to go for it, then the stakes are a little bit higher. Adam, where do you land on this debate? Because most people, as you can see on screen, almost 2 out of 3 or a little more than 2 out of 3, they want the W still.
Yeah, so I would choose C, which is not on the screen, of no major injuries. Like, that's the only thing I care about. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm kind of in the meh. Don't really care. I love beating the Rams. Don't get me wrong. That'd be cool. And then if they lose and they get a little better draft spot, well, then that would be cool. So I don't have huge feelings about it one way or the other. The season ended this last week. It's over. We all know it. And the conversation across the board between fans and commentators and everything has now switched to the offseason. So this game feels like, I guess one more time to see these guys, and hopefully nobody gets injured. We'll call it good.
Yeah, I was, as soon as we were eliminated, I was on our Discord, which I would encourage people to go check out. An awesome Discord, getintheflock.com, and you could become a member. Several hundred Seahawks fans hanging out there. And I guess I was an early voice being like, hey, this game really does not matter to me. And I had a sneaking suspicion McVay would pack it in. And I was like, I'm on train, get the better draft pick. And there was a lot of pushback, which is fine. I could see it on screen here too. There was a lot of pushback in the Discord being like, I just don't understand that mindset. How could you want to lose? And I was like, guys and girls, I'm like, it's not that. I was like, we already lost. I was like, that part is over. We cannot win this year. Like, that's over. So I'm all about what's the best thing for 2025 and better draft pick, and also like getting the heck out of LA healthy. That's it. There's other stuff that's cool, and maybe we'll see it come up in our bets as we go through them for the week and analyze this in a different way. I bet we will, in fact. There's some cool accelerators and some players potentially playing their last game as a Seahawk. So that'll be fun to look at, and we will take a peek at that. But overall, it's like, geez, get out of SoFi Stadium, happy and healthy. And then let's see what happens on Black Monday. And let's see if we get a late Christmas/holiday wish, and we get our wish that maybe Ryan Grubb is no longer with this team. Adam, I know you feel that way. Wilson, before we turn the page and get to our bets, where are you right now on the Ryan Grubb experiment? Does he stay or does he go? What do you think? What do you want and what do you think happens?
The experiment has failed. The lab is on fire, and deadly chemicals are being leaked into the nearby rivers.
This is very
I love it.
Very similar to the plot of Alien Romulus. No spoilers, but quite similar. All right,
True.
so we will mosey on. So for the last 2 weeks, whether we've had Ghost Wilson or In Bed Wilson or whatever it might be, the last 2 weeks.
I picture him being in bed like Russ and Ciara when he signed the contract, and he's like, "Hey, PNW Prop Stars, I've got a bet."
That's amazing. Who were the Seahawks who spoofed it? It was like DJ Fluker and Lockett.
Right. Yeah,
dude, that was so funny. What did he say? Like, it was like, "Hey, Seattle, like, we got a deal," right? That was it,
Seattle.
right? Yeah.
We got a deal.
Yeah. So the video gotta be out
add the Sierra laugh in at the end too.
And it's TJ Fluker and Tyler Lockett nuzzled up in what looks like a bed. And it's just like, "Hey, Seattle, we got a deal." And it's so good. It's so perfect. Well, enjoy that. And Adam, you get your Cadillac trot here 2 weeks in a row, back to back, belly to belly, PNW Prop Star champions. You took it last week again in what was a thrilling 6-3 win over the Chicago Bears. Remind us how you got there, because I actually forget.
Yeah, I think I only hit on one bet, and it was a bet towards futility that there would be a quarter where neither team scored.
Oh yeah.
And that pushed me over the top. So for the first week that I won on betting Justin Jefferson to rip our hearts out, and he did.
Yes.
That didn't feel good. And then this week I bet on just abject failure all the way around, and I won, and that didn't feel good. So these are some empty wins for me, man. It's a very hollow feeling.
That's how I feel about it. Wilson, the Justin Jefferson touchdown in multiple quarters, whatever it was, that was also our only Fail Mary of the year. Am I right about that?
That is correct. Yeah.
Woof. All right. Well, we got one more shot. So let's see what we will cook up. And we're going to go through our normal bets. Stick around to the end, because we're also going to do a bit of observation on what did we miss as very biased Seahawks fans this year. Like, what could we have done better besides bet more bets that made money and lose less money, because we didn't do very well. We're going to recap that in a second to see where we stand right now. But stick around to the end, because I think there were some patterns that emerged this year that we could have taken advantage of, and likely some bias and just maybe hawker reasons that we did not. But stick around for that. All right, Wilson, before we go to the tee box and give it to Adam, because he is the champion heading into week 18, where do we stand as of right now? Who's got an outside shot? Who's in pole position? And who's really freaking out of it?
Well, guys, in terms of wins on the season, I hate to say it, but these last 2 ones for Adam have been pretty much meaningless. I've already clinched the total number of weekly wins at 7. Adam has moved up to 4, and Clinton is at 5. So that's where we stand heading into the last week. In terms of money, none of us are doing particularly well. I've lost $90. Adam has lost $201, and Clinton has lost $212.
Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Wow.
So it's interesting for second place here, Clinton, unless one of us has a big home run week 18. I'm keeping you down, man. I am not going to come in last. We got to keep you where you belong on this show, Clinton, in last place.
Well, I know that there are members of our flock, of our Discord and our Facebook Ring of Honor. I know that are listening to this that are like, because they also run our Seahawkers podcast fantasy league. And that's an awesome league where we have a 2-tier system because Bloomy started it. So shout out to actually Ross Bell started it and credit to him. And then Bloomy helps him govern it. And they put in soccer style relegation. So if you're in the bottom 2 of the Premier League, you get relegated. And I got relegated this year. And then I missed the playoffs. And then I missed the playoffs this year in the second league. So I know there's folks there that are like, man, Clinton's going to be at the bottom again. And this is a pattern I really want to just reverse. Let's put it that way. So, all right, Wilson's going to take the season W's. However, the money is, of course, still in play. Unfortunately, this year, we're not going to get a chance at any playoff games. We would play it all the way out, but not going to have that chance this year. All right. So, Adam, that brings us to you. You're on the tee box. You got the first one to get out of the gate. Where are you taking us and why?
Yeah. So, I'm basically betting on Rams failures because it's hard to bet on Seahawks successes in a lot of ways. It's just been a rough year that way, predicting anything outside of JSN. So I've got the LA Rams to score first. So hopefully just a field goal from a Jimmy G led drive where Seattle's kind of settling into facing guys that don't have a lot of tape out there in Sean McVay's offense. And then Seattle to win the game overall at a fatty plus 275 for my first down bet. I like it, man, because I do think Seattle's going to win this game, even though we're playing, the B team for LA, and McVay seems to get even the B team guys to step up.
Jimmy G gets him up 3-0. We win the game 28-3. Wilson plus 275. No risk it, no biscuit. What do you think?
Yeah, I got to go for it this last week. I know we all took some pretty big swings last week too and struck out. So I don't mind this at all, giving it another shot.
Yeah, just one more crack of the bat, right? So, or one more swing to see if we can get that going. And we should remind folks that we're going to go through 4 unique bets each. Bet 1, 2, and 3 are $10 a pop. Bet 4, which is of course the Fail Mary, must be 1,200 or longer odds. Only $1 a piece. So when you hear Wilson's lost a little over 90 and Adam and I a little over 200, you can start to kind of think about how we got there this year. All right. So speaking of getting us there, Wilson, you are number 2. Take it away, my man. Where are you going?
Well, I think the number this week for the over-under is a little bit of an overreaction to last week's games for both teams. I think given that this is essentially a meaningless game, I expect things to open up just a little bit more, even though there are no meaningless games in the NFL for the players, right? Everyone's fighting to put tape up. Everyone's fighting for a spot on the roster, a contract. I still think this game has the potential to open up a little bit and not be quite as tense as some of the games last week for both teams. If you could describe them as such, I would say maybe the Rams game was a little bit more tense than the Seahawks game, which was just something that could loosely be described as professional football. But I do like the over this week. I just think 38.5 is quite low.
Back in a dome in SoFi, Geno's numbers are what they are indoors. Hint, they're awesome. He's been an exceptional quarterback indoors. And, Jimmy G's going to want to go out there and prove some things too. And McVay is not going to just turtle up and not try stuff. He's not going to have his A guys out there, but he's still going to want to win. He's still McVay. So 39 points to hit this is not too many. Adam, I think you and I both have some stuff later that might be pitching the other way, but what do you think? 2019 Seahawks get it up?
Yeah, I think it's going to be more like 21-6 Seahawks. Like I don't see this as being a massively high scoring game between both teams, especially when you figure that it's going to be the Rams backups. And I don't care if McVay is going for it or not. If it's going to be their backups against Seattle's first string defense for the majority of the game, then it's going to be a struggle for them offensively, I believe, because I think this defense is actually legit. In terms of, the Seahawks offensively, it's been so all over the map. I mean, they could only muster 6 points against the freaking Bears. So I'm not, super excited about them going out and scoring a bunch of points this game. So I think this is going to be under.
Gotcha. So you're liking the under. I think I bend that way as well, but I do hear Wilson saying a bit of a maybe overreaction by the bettors in Vegas, or putting a number out there to try and tease people to maybe fall for the under. But I like it as well. All right, so that takes me to me, because those are words. All right, so look, if there's one thing we learned this year pattern wise, is that JSN typically catches a lot of footballs. They put this number out at a kind of a weird number this week. I could have teased it one way or another. It is first down. I just want to get on the board. JSN over 5.5 receptions at -145. Last week, the streak got snapped. So it stopped at 7 weeks of 70 plus yards per. And I think he only had like 3 receptions last week for, 30 or 40 yards. But again, we scored 6 points and barely moved the ball on a Thursday night, the day after Christmas, in the rain and just while traveling. Just a totally bad combination and bad football. So I think he gets here mainly because I think he's going to want to finish the season in a strong way. And if he gets to 5, I think it's 5, then he gets 101 receptions, which would break Lockett's all-time record. I think he's going to want that. And so one more than that, and this thing hits. Adam, basically the question is, does JSN break Tyler Lockett's record?
I would think so, only because if Geno's going to go out and try to get his escalators and get that man his money, he's going to try to go to the guy that's been there for him all year, and that's JSN. I like the idea of him catching a lot of balls this game, so over 5.5. Yeah, I see it.
Wilson, is he getting 6 or more? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with all that's been said.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I like the idea that the accelerators, of course, they matter. So, and if Geno's trying to stay above 70% or above 69.8%, so he beats his 2022 percentage and gets the $2 million accelerator, well, little checkdowns to JSN that compile, that helps him get there. So I think that's a deal. All right, so that takes us now to Wilson. You are looking for, this is kind of funny. I love it. It's on screen. Take it away, but I did chuckle a little bit and also cried a little bit when I saw this bet.
Yeah, this is going to be the Seahawks' only punt in this game, so don't worry. But yeah, I mean, I think there have been struggles out of the gate forever with this Seahawks team, this incredibly embarrassing streak of no opening drive touchdowns, which I think is at 20 games now. Is that correct?
20. That's correct. 20
that
games.
is just horrific. And yeah, I don't think they're going to snap out of that this week. This offense just struggles out of the gate. So I think we'll see a punt on the first drive. That's basically my reasoning.
Right, and he gets plus 110. Adam, maybe this week if we get to a 3rd and 3 in the opposing team's area, maybe we get under center and run the freaking football, or am I just high because I'm just high? What do you think?
I thought you were starting a stand-up career there for a second. Like 3rd and 3, we're going to get under center and run the football. That's hilarious. That's a great joke. At the end of the day, I love this bet. I'm wearing a green hoodie today, and my face might as well match it because I am green with envy over this bet with plus 110 odds. I love it, man. Seattle first drive punt. That makes all the sense in the world to me.
All right, so it's some plus money early for Wilson there, or his second down bet is plus money, I should say. I'm up on my second down bet. All right, guys, this is where I start to get a little bit spicier. I was just playing with the numbers, and I liked this potential outcome. So Seattle over 20 points, essentially 19.5 or over. Can't score half points in the NFL quite yet, so 20 or more. LA under 14.5. So, you give me a 21-14 game, 23-10, and this is cashing at plus 194. So Vegas is saying it's about a 2-for-1 there. I just think it's a very possible outcome. Wilson, this range, how's it feel for you?
Yeah, I think the Rams are going to score a little bit more, but I think this is completely reasonable for the money. We'll get into that on my Fail Mary. But
Gotcha. And Adam, I know you already feel strongly about the underside of this. So do you think Seattle's going to get over 20 and put this in range?
It's certainly possible. And I kind of looked at something similar when I was making my second down bet, and We were on the same page. The only thing I didn't want to do was introduce the second variable of betting on the Seahawks offense to be good.
Yeah.
But at plus 194, man, I like where your head's at.
Yep. So let's take it over to yours because it is a similar vein with a careful, even spicier money on second down, but got to go for it. Take it away.
Yeah. Well, just trying to make up massive amount of money for no reason and taking huge swings. Look, I think if you're Mike Macdonald in this defense, you want to finish on a strong note. Now, I think you want to be able to go into that offseason and be like, look, we can shut down anybody. We're a top 10 defense. And as long as they're playing their starters for the vast majority of the game, I think it's going to be a struggle for the B team for the LA Rams, even with Sean McVay pulling the strings as he does. So I swinging for the fences, just under 10 points for the LA Rams gets me plus 320. That's where I'm going.
Yeah. And Wilson, we've already kind of heard your piece on this, that you think they're going to go over that a little bit at least, or maybe quite a bit. So I won't toss it to you there, just to say, I think it's very possible. I think the biggest thing in general is I agree that of all the pride elements of this game, Macdonald and the defense, that's the A1 in my opinion, where they're like, look, let's continue to show the NFL that this was a legitimate top 10 defense. And the transformation of this team, even just this year between the draft and then picking up linebackers, ditching linebackers, making trades, et cetera, re-signing Leo, moving Kobe into the position he's now in, the hits go on, that's the real momentum going forward. Now, again, what happens on Monday, whatever the fate of Ryan Grubb is, you could detach that as a Seahawks fan and say, I hear you. And the defense actually showed out and was pretty darn good. So I'm rooting for this too. All right. That takes us over to my third down bet. So I'll go right at it, guys. This is a bit of me being a bit of a sap. I'll say that and say that's true. But also, I remember standing outside of the Lumen East Rutherford with Wilson Kahn, the Princetonian, as we were getting through an egregious line to go watch Seahawks Jets. And there's Tyler Lockett getting targeted on the first drive. So Lockett gets these early, almost meaningless targets. Why? Why are they meaningless? Because the first drives don't amount to anything. They're punting a lot, but he gets targets early. And if this is to be Lockett's swan song with the team, I could see Macdonald and Grubb and the team wanting to get Lockett a few early touches. So first drive, reception by Lockett, plus 245, an early little check down. I like the juice on a regular game. I think this is pitching higher, better chances because of the circumstances. Regular game, probably won't take this. Last game of the year, maybe for Lockett as a Seahawk ever, I like my chances. Number 16, Wilson. The 16 gets some glory on the first drive.
Yeah, I love this.
Nice.
Was this on DraftKings?
I think so, because DraftKings seemed to be the only one that had anything at all. Like everything else was just like money line crap. So I think it was DraftKings.
I must have missed this. I
Me
really
too.
like this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we got one for one that likes it. Adam, sounds like you're into getting Lockett the ball early too.
Just with Wilson, I missed this too. I was going to ask you the same question. Where did you find this bet? Because I really do like it. And I think for sentimentality's sake, I could see Tyler Lockett being targeted early and often. And because I do believe that this is 80% likely his last game as a Seahawk. It's kind of trending that way, unless he totally restructures. They decide to keep him. I mean, it's not like there's no path for him to come back, but
right.
Yeah, I like it. At plus 245. My goodness, this is a nice bet, buddy.
All right. Well, and I think I saw it. I think it was like the overall game props or first drive. There's a column for that as well. If folks are looking to go replicate and go find it out there, I think there was like a first drive column. You can go find it. And, it was like they have a DK version and a JSN version that, okay, they're a little bit. And then I saw the Lockett one. I said, ooh, that's pretty juicy. And I do think he's going to get a little bit extra love because this might be his last game. And you know what?
Say what you will, Clinton. I think you made this one up.
Perfect. All right, we'll move on to this is then, I think, Adam, your third down. You got a bunch of offense here, but at plus 800, hey, man, you're going for it. So talk about it.
It takes big balls to get blue chips, boys. And so I'm going big on my third down bet here. And this is just a bet on the Seahawks having a big day offensively. Geno coming out and getting all of his escalators. and looking like he's the guy that you want to move forward with for the rest of the next 2 seasons, possibly. And I think he has a lot to prove in this game, as well as Ryan Grubb, maybe coaching for his NFL football life here. And then I threw JSN in on this bet because he has been the one constant offensively that you can bet on. So the bet goes like this. It's a 3-way parlay. JSN to have 70 plus receiving yards, Geno to have 3 passing touchdowns or more, and then Geno to be over 275 passing yards. These are all monster numbers. It'd be a huge day, but they all work in conjunction with one another. That's why I went for it here at a hefty plus 800.
Well, Wilson, I think the man is understanding the game and how to play Final Jeopardy, right? It's like, heck, he's down by about 110 or so dollars, $112, best I can make of it real quick. And if he gets this one, that's $80 back in the right column. So it's a big day. You were actually rah-rah on the offense. What do you think of this?
Yeah, at 800, this is not bad. And yeah, it's got me just dropping a slight bead of sweat, realizing that, yes, Adam knows that he's got nothing to lose and can just try and play spoiler to my victory parade here. So I like it.
Yep. I love it. So the ghost in the machine that is Wilson Com this week is sweating somehow digitally. So we like it. So a little shaking in the boots. We dig that. All right. So that takes us now to this is a tried and true staple. As much as I chuckled at your Seahawks first punt, I beamed with joy when I saw this one on your third down bet. Wilson, talk to us about. I want to also understand. I get the bet. I want to know in your heart who's getting this, who's making it happen for the Seahawks. Take it away.
Oh boy, I would love to see another Leonard Williams pick here, like a busted screen or something. That's what I envision. But God, I hate Jimmy Garoppolo so much. I hate him actually probably a little bit less than Purdy, but just the fact that he was a Niners quarterback and he went to the Super Bowl and he got exposed, and all these Niners fans were telling me he's the next big thing, and the same thing happened with Purdy. And they've got these fraudulent quarterbacks, and I love to see them exposed. I'd love to see Purdy throw a pick. I love to see Jimmy G throw a pick. It doesn't matter what stage of the career they're in. I like to see them keep getting exposed. Jimmy G is probably going to throw multiple interceptions in this game, by my prediction. And yeah, so just to throw one, I'll take that any day of the week. Don't care what the odds are. Hate that guy.
Love it. So it is minus 120 for those that are not watching, that are listening. So Jimmy G to throw a pick, any kind of pick will do at minus 120. Wilson, before I kick this to Adam to chime in, please remind the viewers and listeners, what part of the country did you spend your child? Where'd you grow up, Wilson?
Well, I live about 10 miles from Levi's, so hostile territory for sure. I've definitely learned how to stand up against the Niners media machine, which is ridiculous. Hey, that being said, guys, I think Brock Purdy has really earned a max contract, and the Niners should do whatever they can to keep him in town and give him as much money as possible.
$65 million a year to Purdy, obviously. Adam, Jimmy G with the interception. Who in your heart do you want on the Seahawks side to come down with this interception? Because it's going to happen.
Well, firstly, I want to agree with Wilson on the amount of money they should give Brock Purdy. Actually, I disagree. They should give him like 80 a year. Don't worry about the elbow stuff. It'll be fine. Yeah, he's a winner. Jimmy G, though, the interception here, it's hilarious that Vegas also knows that like Jimmy's definitely throwing.
We lost Ann there for a second, but he was, waxing on about the fact that Vegas is totally in. Yeah,
are we back?
Well, your voice now, you are a ghost in the machine, so it's just me. I wonder what's going to happen to me next.
I don't know.
I didn't even move. This is like a Christmas Carol. It's the ghost of PNW Prop Stars past.
Yeah. I love it.
I love Jimmy G throwing a pick here. I think it's definitely going to happen. It's a great bet. I actually almost made this one of my bets, but I needed much longer odds to make any sort of hay this week, so that's the only reason I stayed away from it.
Love it. Okay, so Wilson wants it to happen with Leo, maybe dropping back again. Let's see if he can go 90-something yards one more time. I love that because Leonard Williams was a clear Pro Bowl snub, and heck, if he could get one more pick, that might vault him to the All Pro level, which he does deserve because he's having a heck of a year. So we'll see if that happens. But my money would also be on, Jimmy G's interceptions were like, he just overthrows dudes like all the time. There's a crossing pattern and he just freaking airmails it. So who's sitting back there? I don't know. Give me Julian Love. Give me Julian Love to clean one up that just sails 5 feet over to the guy's head, right into Julian's tummy, and he's doing a little dance on the sideline because Julian catches it. So, all right, that's fun. We like to talk about Jimmy G INTs whenever we get a chance. Of course, we also love the Fail Mary. So the $1 bet must be 1,200 or longer odds to qualify. We call this the Sunday Scratcher, the Sunday Rubber. We've hit exactly one this year, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. But Adam, you are back on the tee box, and you have cooked up a beauty. Take it away, my man.
Yeah, just another swing for the fences. Seahawks are on the road, which they've been generally good when they've been on the road. So there's that, and in a dome. So I'm looking for a big offensive output here. Plus, Tyler Lockett's potential last game as a Seahawk. I'm looking for him to have a big farewell type game because that does happen in the NFL. You see that every now and then. So I got the Seahawks to score over 15 points or more. Tyler Lockett to have over 40 reception yards, and a big day for Sharp. So all he needs to do is break off 2, and we're looking at 70 plus rush yards for the game for a hefty plus 1,500. Again, I mean, this is a little wish casting here, no doubt about it, but this is what I want to happen.
Well, that's what the Fail Mary is all about. I do have a question, though. I read it when you sent it over as Seattle minus 14.5 points, not just.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I said it wrong. You're right. Seahawks to win by 15 points or more. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. No, just wanted to clarify because I was like, did I read it wrong? So yes, it's wish casting, but they all are. They're Fail Marys. They're fun. Speaking of wish casting, I think Wilson has broken out the crystal ball. He's doing his best Mama Cleo because my man is going for something identical on the nose. Wilson, what do you prime for?
He's primed to be muted. He's primed to be muted. That's where we're at here. There he is.
Excuse me. My dog was going nuts, and I was hoping to prevent the listeners from having to be subjected to whatever horrible words he was saying in dog language. Yeah, I think this is going to be a close game. I don't know. It's really a feeling for me because yes, the defense has been very good. I don't think that the team is going to blow anyone out. I don't think the Seahawks are going to have some massive success. And this is one of the most common scores in the NFL that can also get me my over. Because 20-17 is the most common, but that would not get me my over. So I got to keep it consistent. Yeah.
And at plus 7,500, that equals you bet $1 and you win 75 Americans. So that's what we call, gamble a little to potentially win a lot. And heck, 23-20, again, it's a scratcher. So we throw it out there, but I like the precision you're going for. I am on the exact opposite end of this where I am looking at a blowout where I'm like, okay, give Seattle over 28 points and keep the Rams to under 7 or under 7.5. So really 7 or less. And that's exactly at plus 1,200. Give me a 31-6 ball game against the varsity versus the JV here. And let's see it happen. Look, they are Fail Marys, so we don't need to debate them too much, but they are certainly for fun. But I put them all out here so we can see all of our bets for the week that we got here. A couple of things that are out there, of course, a couple of folks leaning back into JSN, Sharp with his yards, and then some other bets on some floundering from the offensive one way or the other as we finish out this season. So one of the things I wanted to ask guys, and I'll just put this up on screen as we talk about this, is now, we're 18 weeks in, 17 weeks really with the game because we had a bye week. This has been look, the numbers are what they are, right? Wilson's down 90, Adam and I 200 plus. We're jockeying for second place there. And it was a difficult year, I felt like. And I do wonder in retrospect if we could look back and say, hey, besides JSN was a gravy train you could ride for a while, a 6-7 week streak there where it was like 70 plus. And some of those weeks started with like JSN plus 150. When that streak was getting going, you were getting paid good money to just get 70 yards. And then it kind of went to minus money over the weeks and the different matchups. To me, that was one of the things you could have rode this week. Adam, I'll toss to you first. Is there one or two other patterns that emerged throughout the year that we just simply didn't take advantage of that maybe we should have, and why didn't we?
You asked this question over text last night, and I thought about it for hours and couldn't come up with anything. Finally laid down in bed, because the reason I couldn't come up with anything was this team was so freaking chaotic all year. I mean, you think about just betting on the defense. Okay, well, what trends do you see there? I don't know. We sucked balls for half the year, and then we were good for half the year. And then, like, offense, like, same thing. Like, we were good for a quarter of the year and then sucked balls for 3/4 of the year. So, like, how do you bet on that, and how do you see trends in that? And I think the only one that we really saw that was obvious was the JSN stuff. But beyond that, I think the one that I wish I would have gotten on board with and had shaped my bets around a little bit more was something that's been obvious for a while, but I have been discounting, and that is how poor they've been at home and how good they've been on the road. And I wish I would have tailored my bets around that a little bit more. But short of that, this team was just too damn chaotic for me to look at and be like, yeah, there's a trend I should have jumped on.
Yeah, interesting. I love that. This is a cool discussion. I do remember that we were getting real excited for the Leo Williams stretch where he was getting sacks, and then we jumped on that, and then that week it didn't happen, right? So it was like, okay, we got okey doked by the Vegas odds makers. So that was one where they kind of got us. And then Wilson, I'll toss it to you. So road home. One thing before I toss it is on the last what if of the season, Phil asked about he said, hey, is there something we could glean from our road prowess this year? And my answer was a little bit simple and deadpan. I was like, we played better teams at home. So I don't know if it was, but maybe it was just that they're like, hey, we played these really good teams at home, the Bills and the Vikings and the Packers. And that's kind of why we stunk at home. So we should have leaned the other way. But that was my answer on what if, asked in a different context. So Wilson, for you, anything coming up with the road warrior stuff or another pattern that you think we could have taken advantage of?
I like that insight from Adam. I thought a lot about the types of bets that I was taking and not taking. I took way too many anytime touchdown bets. I've realized that anytime touchdown bets are kind of for idiots, and I'm one of those idiots. Touchdowns are way too random for you to have a meaningful ability to predict really how they're going to happen. The Seahawks were also super bad in the red zone, which is something that I should have thought about when I continued to bet on touchdowns. And touchdown bets, they're very enticing because they're always the first one that shows up on DraftKings. And they're really meant for people who are thinking about fantasy football like me, who want to see Kenneth Walker, who's on their fantasy team, score touchdowns. And I think I just got a little bit too enticed by those. Another thing that I know we used to actually go to a lot last season, especially I remember Adam and I going back to Jason Myers a lot. They basically set the line at 1.5 field goals every week. And with how bad our red zone offense was, I really think that could have been something to tap into, especially later in the season. That being said, it wasn't a season-long trend. He had not a perfect season, so it was difficult to really think about his success at times. But I think that's another direction we could have gone in as well. That's sort of been a cash cow for us a little bit, especially last season, that we sort of shied away from.
Love it. Love the insights there. And before I give mine, Adam, any reaction to what Wilson laid down?
The Jason Myers thing was smart, and I hadn't even thought about that because he's completely correct. I mean, the red zone offense was atrocious, and then it was an even year Jason Myers year. Why am I not banking on him making field goals?
Right. So which as we get into next year, when we do this fun all over again, maybe go the opposite way because it'll be an odd year for Myers at that point. Let's hope not, because he was one of our bright spots this year, which is sad. All right. So a couple for me that stood out too. And the thing is, like, they're bets I don't want to make. However, it became fairly evident and then stuck that way that there was some money to be had just taking unders, just different unders. Down the stretch, you could have made some good hay taking DK Metcalf yard unders. He kind of fell off a cliff. And I just kept ignoring it, because I'm a Seahawks fan. I'm like, oh, DK. I'm not going to bet DK this week. I'm not going to bet he bounces back, but I'm not going to bet against him that he's not going to get his. But boy, oh boy, down the stretch did he have 20 something yards, 40 something yards, 50 something yards, never really getting to his yardage total. So he was under a lot. And in general, just different unders that were available, game unders, given that our offense was kind of bottom third, and then worse. I mean, and sometimes worse, right? And in total points, we are 19th in the league so far in total points. So it's bottom third's fair, but in many ways, way more dysfunctional than even that. But there was unders to be had. And I think just my Seahawks bias of not wanting to bet unders got in my way and got in our way. So those are my observations. And, maybe next year who knows what we'll see. Hopefully we have a different OC and a different scheme. It just was like there was no reason for this team to keep floundering offensively, except for there was a giant reason we could have banked on it actually to continue to flounder. So Adam, you had called it earlier before the season even started that we might struggle on offense for real specific reasons. Are you surprised we didn't take advantage of it, or is it simply our blind spot?
Well, I wouldn't even call it a blind spot. It's just more I don't know, not a philosophy, not a mantra, like whatever you would call a principle. There it is. That's what I was looking for. It's a principle, man. I'm not going to bet against my team or bet for success for the other team on any given Sunday. I'm not going to do it. One, it's terrible for your chakra. Two, it makes it so that now you're rooting for things while you're watching the game that are against your team winning. Like I can't do it. I can't enjoy the game while betting against guys. You mentioned DK and his yardage slipping late in the year. And boy, it's awfully hard to rack up receptions and yards when you're double and triple teamed the entire time. And not only that, but your offensive coordinator makes it painfully obvious when you're throwing the football and when you're running the football. So as far as DK falling off a cliff, DK fell off a cliff. No. Ryan Grubb fell off a cliff even harder and made it pretty tough for DK to really thrive down the stretch because teams knew the only guy that makes big plays in the passing game is DK Metcalf. JSN's a fabulous possession receiver. He's a fabulous possession receiver, but he's not nowhere close to DK in terms of explosives. So that's the way I see it going down the stretch. And I'm never going to change my betting strategy to root for guys to fail on our team and dudes to succeed on the other. No, thank you.
Adam, Grubb didn't fall off a cliff. I pushed him.
Hey, all right. I'm glad somebody needed to.
Yeah, somebody had to there for sure. So it's definitely been a very fun year, and we welcome you to subscribe. You see that on screen there as well, the QR code, and youtube.com/Seahawkers podcast. And this is one of our in-season shows. And I was saying, it was just yesterday. Yeah, I was on with Mr. Phil and Brandon yesterday as we were wrapping up What If, and I said, like there's a good percentage of Seahawks pundits out there and different podcasters that are like, the in-season stuff is fine, but I really love the off-season. I really love this. And I'm just the opposite. And I said, Adam, I think, you'll both get a kick out of this, but I said, I think, guys, it's because during the season, we actually do some really interesting shows that are just different. And this PNW being one of them. And I was able to go back and look at the numbers. This show has basically doubled in popularity from last year to this year. And nice. Our average viewers, average commenters, average thumbs up. As we've grown steadily overall, this show has been a kind of a shining piece of why it's growing. And I think people just like unique, different content. And, we get to talk to Wilson, Adam, every single week, right?
That's right.
Whereas in the off season, I don't know what this young man does, but we won't see him for a little bit. And Wilson, it's a shame that you're not on with us visually right now, but what's in store for you as we head into what will be a pretty long off season?
A real shadowy business that I can't talk about too much. No, I'm wrapping up my senior year. Do a little bit of traveling this summer and then headed to law school in the fall. So by that time, I'll have moved somewhere new for our next show. And really excited for that. Excited for next season. I'm with you, Clinton. I hate the off season, especially because our GM sucks. But I think it'll be a little more fun if we made good draft picks and actually signed some free agents that had a shot at sticking around on the 53-man roster. But
there was some misses this year for sure. I think he's actually done pretty well in the draft the last couple of years. But we could debate that at a different time after you're back from some travels. But let's make a plan for that, Wilson. Let's get you back on some podcast before the next PNW for next year. And Adam, as we head into the long off season, any wishes for the flock? Any wishes for the rest of the NFL as we head into what is a period of a little hibernation for us?
Yeah, a little bit of a hibernation, but in terms of getting Wilson back, I want everybody to make a commitment right here, right now, that sometime in the week leading up to the Super Bowl, that we get together, we do one more PNW, talk about who won. It's probably going to be Wilson, so there's some incentive, Wilson. You can come back and take a victory lap and make some Super Bowl bets. I think that would be a lot of fun. Just one last one to wrap this up. So are we in?
Let's do it.
I'm totally into that. All right. I love that. Yeah. Yep. I love that idea. We will hang out for the Super Bowl. And as a reminder too, one last thing, speaking to Brandon just the other day about this, and we said live that we do it, that whoever the Rams end up playing basically a week from tomorrow, probably, we're recording this on Friday. We're also planning to do a Seahawkers pod hate watch party. So hate watch 25. Yeah. Hate watch, get all the Hawker and pour it against those stupid Rams so we could all hang out together. And boys, I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
And you know what?
Say what you will, Clinton. I think you made this one up.
Perfect.